Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today with me, I have Michelle Faust. And Michelle is no stranger to turning lemons into lemonade. She's done it countless times throughout her personal and professional careers. Through the breakthrough moment was when she received a pink slip while working in a traditional corporate career in pharmaceuticals. For 20 years, Michelle earned the status and of the consistently being a top sales performer. Still riding the wave of sales success, she found she no longer fit into the image of the company. Youth and salaries of and the inexperience of all those people, that's what won out. It was time to take the juicer out and make some lemonade out of those bitter lemons. She reinvented herself, surrounding herself with leaders in the entrepreneurial world and embracing her long life passion for writing. So her business, Lemonade Legend, is on a mission to give people a voice, share their stories, and elevate them above the conventional noise. She connects people with their stories and their stories into the world. Her platform for sharing includes her own anthology, the Lemonade Stand series, publishing of promotional books, opportunities to contribute to digital Lemonade Legend magazine, or having guest appearances on the Lemonade Legend podcast. There is power in storytelling, and her platforms all celebrate the voice of entrepreneurs and small business owners that have tackled those lemons and created versions of lemonade opportunities. So, hey, that's amazing, Michelle. So thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm excited to be here, Patty. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that I got together with you and shared a story about my life and was in the magazine. So I know for a fact what you do, and it is amazing because everybody can learn from other people's stories, and that's what I think it opens that door, and for people to know that maybe something that they went through was worth sharing to be able to help someone else.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. And you do have an amazing story. So that we weren't able to even barely touch on
Well,
in an
right,
article in a magazine.
but if it will help anybody, I'm happy to share.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I think that's very much the reason behind what I do and why people are so willing to share their story. It's if you can help one person, it is worth it. But there's just many, many reasons to put your story out there, and I'm very passionate about it.
So I kind of curious to ask for our viewers to know, what is a storytelling strategist?
So I can pick that as my expertise because it is a strategy, really. It isn't just publishing people's stories and putting it in print. It's also about helping them craft that story. So oftentimes, I have people who will say either I don't have a story, which that is never the case because everyone has a story,
Exactly.
or they're saying I have no idea how to put it in print. And so I also work in editing and writing coach capacity and helping people to write their story. And then once that story is written, what's the best way to put it out there? So that's why I created different platforms to be able to give people different opportunities. And so I guess that's what a storytelling strategist is it's all about people telling
those
stories
pieces
and how
together.
can I help them do it? Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So how did Lemonade Legend come to be?
kind of by accident. But then I often think that entrepreneurs, if they're open to the possibilities of where life takes them, that they're going to find their passion. So along the way, after I lost my job with pharmaceuticals, and I was dabbling all over the entrepreneurial world in different capacities, and I did land in writing, but through content writing. So I was in marketing and content writing, and at that somewhere in that point in time, probably about a year ago, I felt like I had a story to share, like I had a big story inside of me that I really felt would be important to put out there. But I also didn't have the confidence. I didn't really have the budget to put my own book out there. So I ended up talking to quite a few people, and that's where the Lemonade Stand, my book, was born. And it's an anthology with 18 other women, so 19 chapters total. And we all had stories to share, lemon to lemonade stories. And I didn't expect it to go any further than that. I would have been just completely happy and ecstatic just to say, I'm a best-selling author, I've got a book out. But there was so much excitement and engagement around the book, and people loved the concept. Also, towards the end of getting the book completed and published, I realized that it was taking a lot of work, and it was crunch time to get it done by the time I had my deadline for publication and release. So I handed all my clients over to a partner I was working with and went full time with it, but I thought that would be temporary. It wasn't temporary. So it just became evident that there was more. There was much more that was going to come out of the Lemonade Stand and what I could do. And I just became so passionate about helping people share their stories.
It makes it really, I think, just reading the stories, because I've read the stories in your book, because I have the first book. Just reading the stories, it really does connect you to, you know, what you the learning from what other people have been through, and it it empowers you to know that we're not in this alone. And that's part of what I share with this, with what I do with my show is, life happens to every single one of us, um whether we're ready for it or not, and we all come against struggles, but have to find a way to get past that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And, here's what I saw come out of the Lemonade Stand. First of all, the authors themselves went through such a healing process. Everyone who wrote a chapter was in a different place in their journey. Some were completely healed and embraced their story and were moving, forward, and they were just happy to share. But there were some who were still kind of in the middle of their story. They hadn't really reached the full forgiveness, or they carried their burdens, like shame. So there was so much of a healing process. And here's what I say, because I do hear this a lot, that people are afraid for someone to hear about their past. They do tend to carry shame around some of the taboo subjects still, because we haven't gotten past that point where we're okay talking about rape or domestic violence or just PTSD, all kinds of things that we still suppress, and we still want to put this perfect version of ourselves out there. But here's the thing. Once you share your story, most people find that shame no longer carries any power. Once you've released it, it's weak, it's gone, it's just not even there. And it's so liberating for people to rid themselves of that. It's incredible.
Right.
I get so excited about the whole process.
Right. Well, because you have been a part of so many people's journey doing that, Michelle. And that's where, so the compassion that you share and you are able to give people as they work with you, I think that's a big difference too. I think that's fantastic because, you've heard so many stories and how you might need to help draw it out of people so that the way that you talk with them makes it easier for them to do.
I like to think that. I
Yeah.
like to think that there's a little bit of a coaching side of me when I'm working with my clients, my writing clients. And it, I just kind of just like choked on my own words there. But I wanted to bring up the Jack Canfield series of Chicken Soup for the Soul, because I get asked that a lot. Is it kind of modeled after that? And yes, to a certain extent, but here's a big difference. He went out and collected stories and then wrote about them. I have women write their own stories because that is powerful. And in fact, I've talked to enough people who will say it was one thing just to talk about their stories. Whole different process when you actually put it down on paper.
Exactly.
Because you go back to that place and time. And sometimes that's hard and it takes work. But the end result out of it is that you will experience so much self-healing, and you will embrace your little child, your inner self that's in there, and say, wow, look what you went through, look what you survived.
Mm-hmm.
That in and of itself helps people to realize their power and their ability to overcome. So it makes all the difference in the world when you write your own story.
Exactly. And Michelle, I have to share that, I'll share with our viewers that me putting everything down on paper and then having it was difficult because there was so much of it and I still didn't get everything down on paper.
No.
But condensing that to go into a magazine article was a lot of condensing. So it's not that it didn't have matter, it did matter to me and my life and everything, but just to condense everything. But by doing so, I realized, in fact, it even clarified my purpose even more. And you
Exactly.
know that for a fact because I was like, oh my God. And to you, and thanking you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will share here is that as a child, my father was an abusive man, and I won't go into the whole thing right now, but I will just say that he used to make my mother run around with curlers in her hair all the time and looking as frumpy as she could. He would not let her um, drive, so she couldn't drive. He would take her in the vehicle with me in the car to the store every night to go after he got home from work to get beer and cigarettes. But he would park in a place where he could see her going to the cooler, getting it, and taking it to the counter. She was not allowed to make eye contact or have conversation with anybody. That was it. But with that, so as a little girl, I used to help her put her hair in curlers. But while he was at work, I would help take the curlers out and try to make her look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a cosmetologist. I became a beautician, and I did that because I enjoyed making people feel good about themselves and empowering them by, you know, letting them express who they were and the beauty from within. And so that all came from that, my career in that part of my life. But now, as a part of my life, as letting people be able to learn who they are, express who they are, and grow from there. It all comes together. And
Yeah, it
so,
really
yeah.
does. Yeah, I oftentimes talk to people about their why, and I think most people understand what the why is. But the why is, why do you do what you do? Um, in a business sense, people don't buy what you do. They don't buy how you do it. They buy why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important. It is important to understand your story, because that is where we get our why and our purpose. And that is what connects people to us, so that they know, like, and trust us. So this is the reason why storytelling is so powerful, because there's a tremendous amount of personal growth, but there's also professional growth. And there's also the ability to inspire and teach and be an authority in your space. It's huge, because it's at the core of everything you are and everything you do. And I saw that with you, Patty. When we were going through the story, because there was a much bigger story. You can and will write a book one day, because there's enough there. So yeah, to condense it down into
there is.
So, but we had to put it down into about 900 words, I think it was.
Right.
But what that did is it forced you, first of all, to write out your entire story and to process that. And then we picked out the most important points. And when you pick out those most important points, when you bring it down to about 3 or 4 lemons in your life, because we all have more than one lemon. But then that is the core foundation of your why. So even writing a shorter version is very helpful. It's going to put you in that place where you really understand what you do. And of course, as a coach for goals, etc., your story is so much more about that. But it's also about being a businesswoman, because you own several different businesses. You worked in different business capacities. So your story encompasses exactly why you're an expert at what you do. And I saw that. As the story unfolded.
Right.
And so I get excited to read the stories, because I can see exactly where you're coming from, why your value systems are what they are. I'm the luckiest person in the world to be able to do this.
That is right. But don't we all want to feel that way? So for you, you're the luckiest person because you see it and you see the fruition of people going from one place to another. For me, it's when people do achieve the goals, dreams and goals that they have here, and then they're able to achieve them. And even as they're reaching the milestones and on their way, to me, I find that priceless. It is rewarding. But when they can come to me and say, "Oh, Patty, thank goodness I found you," because they've tried everything.
I mean, we all need help along the way.
Exactly.
In one capacity or another. And I think what I have found too is storytelling overlaps into so many different professions. I work with a lot of coaches, maybe not work with, but I collaborate with a lot of coaches. And I see them kind of also using that whole process to understand what their vision is, their purpose, their goal, all of that comes from the story. So I fit in so well with so many people that I work with and collaborate with and I'm connected with. And it's kind of a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. If you're going to do something, you might as well enjoy doing it, love doing it, and be servicing people at the same time. And that's the thing, coming from a place of the heart and of service. Yep. What better place to be?
Yeah.
So exactly. Michelle, so where do you see the future of Lemonade Legend going?
Yeah, it blows my mind sometimes. Just trying to get a handle on it all, because the growth has been pretty phenomenal and the opportunities to grow. As I said, I came to an understanding that the Lemonade Stand, the book, was not a one and done. It was going to go far beyond that. And really the mission, the purpose of Lemonade Legend is to provide possibly the largest platform out there to provide, different opportunities for sharing, people to share their stories. So to date, I'm doing the second lemonade stand. So, and I still have a couple of spots for some more authors, but we've got a great foundation of contributing authors. I'm really excited to get book number 2 out. And I've got the digital magazine, and I've got my own podcast. And I offer publishing services, because you know what I found out is a lot of people, they're saying, I have a whole book. And there's a definite gap between having a publishing house, the well-known ones that you get all the rejection letters from.
Right.
Got that way up here somewhere. And then you've got self-publishing, and there's this huge gap in between, because self-publishing is not as easy as you think. It's very, very simple to just go on Amazon and upload what you've written, and boom, you've got a book. But there's so much more to it than that, because you want it to be beautifully edited, and you want to have the promotion in place. You want to know how to bring it to bestseller status. There's just a lot that is involved in really being successful with publishing your book.
Right.
So I'm still in that place, and I'm finding that there is a huge need out there for that. So that came to be, and we've got other things that are in the works too.
So exciting. And I can say, because being an author myself and already having published one book, there are people out there, because I did use a hybrid publishing company. And you know the story, Michelle, is that, they weren't all that they were cracked up to be. I was in a contract with them. They closed their doors and went out of business. And they're the ones that were doing the printing. They're the ones that had set up my Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million accounts. So all of that, when they closed their doors and went out of business, I had no way of fulfilling orders of the books that people were ordering.
Oh, wow.
The only thing I had was a few copies that I still had left on hand that I had to sell at events and everything.
I have mine too.
Yes, so you have the one. Yeah, that's one that I gave you when I met you in person.
First time we met. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, I had to write a second edition of the book, doing some changes up in there, but also I added that story in there because I'm the goal achievement strategist, and I teach people, don't give up. Don't give up. Things happen. So this is just another thing showing people that, you know what, if there is a will, there is a way. And if you have a message or story or something that you need to get out, then there will be a way to do it. So, but I would have been better off finding somebody like you to be able to have gone through all of that with, because now with the second edition that's coming out soon, I'm using the same artwork because I had paid for that and everything. But with everything, when you are self-publishing and going through Amazon, your book is for sale on Amazon. But if you're not marketing and promoting that yourself, it's sitting there for sale and no one's going to find it with the millions of other books that are on Amazon. We have to promote ourselves and do that. So you're taking that off of the plate for people and offering to do that for them, which saves them time. But you're taking on that, and you can teach them things to help with that, and doing some of it. But for those of us doing it ourselves, there's time and expense involved in what we have to do to promote that book.
Yeah, I used a publishing service. I guess it's a hybrid, but basically they sold me a package, to get the lemonade stand out, and they were great. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't inexpensive by any means.
Right.
And so I experienced firsthand where I felt the gap was that they did not fulfill, or what could have been fulfilled, and because I do come from the marketing background and sales. And so a lot of my past experiences has helped me to put together publishing services that I feel offers so much more, and what I would have loved to have had. So it's key to the marketing, but it's also exposure, which is marketing. But where are the opportunities for exposure, and does that publishing company provide that? So what I do is I bundle in the process of creating different platforms for people to share their story. It's perfect to bundle that into the publishing package.
Right.
The
Right.
PP. It's hard to get out. Because that automatically provides a space for exposure, and I can give it to them. So I price in all of that. So they're going to be on my podcast, and they're going to be in my magazine. And they're going to get all the exposure of the marketing, and my marketing team that's behind it. But in addition, they are also going to be on other people's platforms, such as you, because
Right.
I'll be funneling my clients over to you to say, this person has a great story and really fits into what your show is about. And I'm gathering a lot of podcasters, kind of in my back pocket, so that we can share like that. So now, instead of just publishing your book, and then at that point, boom, you're done usually with the publishing company. I want to take you beyond. So I have created kind of an author incubator to stay with them. So you're starting 6 months before, and you're staying with them 6 months after the launch, so that you're ensuring that the pre-promotion is there, the post-promotion and exposure is there. And it doesn't end there, because I've got so much more in the works. So it's all around, where can I create these different platforms, and what's there.
Exactly. And that's it. I'm not in the book business. I'm not, yes, I want to sell books because my book is written as a tool for people to achieve their goals. And at the end of each chapter, there's assignments. Okay. So yes, I want to get this into as many hands as possible, because I want people to use it as a tool it was written to be. But it's not all about that. It's about helping people, guiding people through the process. So that's why I have the other services, the courses. That's why I'm doing the show. And I have my peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability group, because we need that support. Not everybody has family and friends that understand your passion for your project. Even you, Michelle, you know what I mean? It's always good to have other people there, your own cheerleading squad, to help you get through some of the things that we come across as you're on your own journey. So yeah, and that's what it's about. I'm about to service people, to be able to help them achieve their dreams and goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't that great to be able to provide that for people, and to see them, the success down the road? And that's kind of funny. My own family, my husband finally gets it. I'll tell you, for the longest time, he didn't know what I did.
Right.
He had no clue. And, my kids and my sister, I don't think they know what I do. And it's not that they're not supportive. They love them, they're excited, but they can't even be cheerleaders because they don't get it.
They don't have the whole concept. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's why, like I said with my peer-to-peer, is because then I have small groups of people that get together. They know each other. They make that connection. So they are that other person's cheerleader, but those other people are the cheerleader for that person. And it really is, it's a mentoring and accountability back and forth, because sometimes we need to be held accountable.
Yeah, I mean, you really need to surround yourself with people who who share the same values, who share the same work ethic, the same struggles.
Right. Just
So
like-minded
really,
individuals that
yeah,
are on, on a journey. They're on a
yeah,
journey. They're focused on something. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. My husband is a physician, and that is such a different mindset.
Right.
So you can't add somebody, doctor, lawyer, those, they're not entrepreneurs. They may
No.
own their own business or their own practice, that type of
Right.
thing, but they're not an entrepreneur, and they don't understand the entrepreneurial journey.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so along the way, when I was all these typical things that you go through, trying to figure out your marketing, your social media, all this kind of stuff, he was just lost.
Yeah. Right. Because he has staff. He has a secretary, people that do that stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. So anyway, so you need to talk to people and converse and bounce off ideas with the like-minded people who are going through the same experience as you are.
exactly. Exactly. Well, geez, it's been so great to have you on with me. And, you know, what do you have anything special to offer the viewers?
Yeah, I do have my workshop. I'd be more than happy to provide that link. The other thing is people can go to lemonadelegend.com and pick it up there. So, but I'll give you the link so that
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
adapt
and
it.
actually, we'll be able to place it under for the show,
Okay,
and
great.
post that right there for everybody. And again, so great to have you with me, Michelle. Hey, everybody. This is the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And so until next time, watch the video at the end here because I have a special gifts there for you. All right.
That's great. Thanks, Patty.